be doing the practice first, eyes are closed, and make your body comfortable. So when you make the body comfortable, you feel the sensation, comfort and steadiness. Just become aware of your entire body. Feel the sensation, comfort and steadiness. So when I say you look at the entire body, look at the skin of the body from the top of the head to the toes and experience sensation, comfort and steadiness. But we have to raise our awareness, so look inside the body. So when you look inside the body, you see the blankness or the space or darkness. It is okay. So we have to see how long we can keep our mind on that space or the darkness or the space. So what happens when the darkness and the space we are seeing constantly? What happens? We raise our awareness. There is an enhanced awareness looking within. But why we do that? To say goodbye to the world outside that is present in our mind. That is, we should be clear and understanding. And now be carefree. Carefree. So here, being carefree means what? You're watching your thoughts like the traffic while standing across the road. What it means? So we compare it with the mental traffic of the thoughts, feeling, images, sensations. So how do I know that I have it? So there is one knower and there is a traffic. So now the metaphor aligns with it. You are standing across the road and watching the traffic. So that again helps you to live in a higher awareness. What is the secret behind it? Secret behind it that we live in awareness. We live in awareness where thoughts are felt. They are separate from you. Separate from you. Anything that is separate from you, anything separate from you will not cause any problem. You are sitting in your home. The home has some problem, but you don't have, you realize it. Same thing with the phone. Anything in the world. So separation. I feel the separation. When you feel that, that is what is known as the cognition or cognitive ability. Why it does not happen easily? Because of the impurity of the mind. and we have been talking, and today also we will talk about it. So you are being comfortable and you are carefree. You please see that we are not doing anything, and still we can separate our thoughts from the ourselves. That separation helps us to change our behavior and attitude. So what happens? You are practicing repeatedly, daily, it helps you, and then you find that, oh, there is a change in my attitude and behavior. So I'm stressed, it is a thought. I'm in anxiety, it is a thought. They are the thoughts. Anytime you have any experience, so when your mental maturity comes, mental maturity separates every thought from you. What happens? Then you can tackle any anxiety, fear, etc., etc., etc. That is what we need to learn. It takes time, but commitment helps you. So we continue to do to purify the mind by the breathing. So what you do, you look inside the forehead in the space. Right? So you look inside the forehead in the space, and in the space, mentally, you drop mentally, say Om Shanti. Om is real self or consciousness, and Shanti means peace. Now we are adding one more step here. So just gently you drop Om Shanti, and you see the space means there is a pause. And then again you drop Om Shanti. That is one part of the mind. Yes, that is one part of the mind. And the second part of the mind is now aware of the breath. Second part of the mind is aware of the breath, and it is doing quick and short, gentle breathing from both the nostrils. Continue, continue, continue. So when you start breathing, the mind comes and it has some resistance, or you may recognize a variety of experiences. So variety of experiences, you accept. Resistance, you acknowledge, and endure it. Enduring means what? No, I will continue to do it. I will not stop. Without moving the body. Why? The body is already comfortable. Body is in the state of sensation, comfort, and steadiness. We endure it. If the mind says, no, I cannot do it, today I'm not feeling good, no, we do it. This is the sign of being a seeker. This is not for everyone. This is only, the practice is only for a seeker. So when we understand our resistance caused by the mind while doing the breathing, continue doing it. and stop it. We find changes in our sensation. We have many other experiences. It may be tingling, it may be numbness. We may find a sense of blankness in the mind. And we summarize those again consciously, looking at the head and the neck, sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Looking at the right arm mentally, sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Looking at the left arm, sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Looking at the middle portion of the body. Looking means you are aware. You recognize, here is my rib cage, belly, shoulders, spine, and the back. That is how the mind recognizes. So that recognition and then experience sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Looking at the right leg, looking again, I have already explained to you. So you are already continuing the state of being comfortable, being carefree. You are living already in a higher awareness. In that state, you are looking at the right leg, sensation, relaxation, and stillness. And left leg, sensation, relaxation, and stillness. In the entire body, looking, and experiencing sensation, relaxation, and stillness. So what happens now? You're already living in a higher awareness. Those sensations are pleasing, stillness is there, and the resistance of the mind is minimal. Now at this moment, even if you have a thought of anxiety, it will not cause you any anxiety. You may have a thought, anxiety or a fear, because we are living in a higher awareness. That is where we are moving forward. We will continue our journey. So again, understand the mantra in our practice is to replace the unwanted, unwelcome thoughts which are still left. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah. Do you remember? You chant mentally. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah. Third time. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah. We do it 3 times. And then we go to the meaning. Let everyone be happy. Word, meaning, and knowledge. So why I say that let everyone be happy? I want everyone to be happy to change my own mind. Why? Because I know everyone has a real self of the nature of happiness. So I'm not looking outside the shape, size, gender, friend, enemy. I'm not looking, I'm looking none. What I'm looking? I'm looking deep inside. We all are made up of one existence. So when we see that, why we do that? Why we do that? To drop the impurity of the mind. What is that impurity of likes and dislikes? We have lot of preferences about people, things, objects, surrounding, environment. Even if you are not thinking, it remains behind your thinking mind. Sarve santu niramaya. Second line of the verse. Sarve santu niramaya. Sarve santu niramaya. Sarve santu niramaya. 3 times we did. Why we are doing it? So you know. The intellect knows it and it is telling it the mind. So the mind creates the doubt. Why the heck I'm doing this? No, I'm doing this to bypass the shape, size, gender, friend or enemy I have branded to the people, situation, environment. I'm looking none. I'm looking everything exists because of that existence. And that existence is made up of the highest state of the well-being. That thought, that feeling, that cognitive ability again helps me to create a sense of detachment, dropping the likes and dislikes, embracing all, and we awaken to the compassion. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Let there be a blessing and a grace for everyone, without any difference. I become the way I think. There's a famous quote from the Gita. So what I'm thinking, let everyone get a grace and a blessing, irrespective of the shape, gender, or we can add nationality, friend or enemy, relations, etc. This is what we are going to change our mind. Ma kaschid dukha bhag bhaved. Ma kaschid dukha bhag bhaved. Ma kaschid dukha bhag bhaved. Let none suffer from misery in this world. So when my mind is overwhelmed with the pure emotion that no one suffers, what it is compassion. But why I want to have a compassion? To drop my likes and dislikes and preferences and attachment and aversion. And now in that state, look at the breath. Again check. So again check. You are in a state of check again. All the previous steps continues. Sensation, comfort and steadiness. You are carefree. There is a state of sensation, comfort and a sensation, relaxation and stillness, and mental maturity is there because of the mantra we just recited and understood. In that state, you are looking at the breath. You are looking at the breath is going in and breath is coming out, you do not change the rate and the rhythm of the breath. Okay? And when the breath goes in, you watch and drop Om Shanti. Breath comes out, Om Shanti. Breath goes in, Om Shanti. Breath comes out, Om Shanti. Breath goes in, Om Shanti. Breath goes in, just continue. As if even I am not there with you. So you are with yourself, and in that state, Om Shanti drops on the inhalation, on the exhalation, without changing the rate and the rhythm of the breath. It's a beautiful. And doing nothing. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And it is better if you do not move the state of the body, the position of the body. Just open your eyes so that you have a tremendous focus to listen to the talk. Last time we discussed that the mind has a two flow. One flow is known as the Shreyas, what is right and good, and the other flow is the lower impulsive, the instinctive and the impulsive that contains the fear, dissatisfaction, duality, and a conflict. We can consciously choose either. So if we live in ignorance, we normally choose the prayers path, and that the path of the prayers results into dissatisfaction, insecurity, duality, and a conflict. So if I choose consciously the path of the prayers, what is right and good? Instantly my intellect says this is right and good. There is no sense of attachment, aversion, duality, and a conflict. So its seeker always follows the path of the Shreyas. Why it follows the path of the Shreyas? Consciously you recognize there is an integrity and there is a sense of self-discipline. And you are not getting carried away by the momentary pleasures. So what is this process? This process, it is a natural understanding of the self-discipline. It is not a force that you are forcing yourself to live into that discipline. It is a natural level of self-discipline. So the Shreyas helps us to understand one's true nature and the purpose of life. Personal growth is possible, fulfillment is possible, inner peace is possible. Prayers only provides us a temporary solution, temporary gratification. And if it is a temporary, we want to repeat it, so the greed comes. Anyhow, the greed is fulfilled, we develop a kind of a pride and egoistic attitude. And then comes the insecurity, dissatisfaction, and the unhappiness. Because nothing outside in the world can bring us that sense of happiness. So if we look back and again analyze, the Shreyas helps us with the wisdom. So there is always a thoughtful action. When there is a thoughtful action, we always work with the highest values in our life. What about the prayers? So we allow the prayers to work under the Shreyas. Prayers means earning money, having other kinds of the pleasure. So the Shreyas is already there in my intellect. This is right and good. For example, here in a restaurant, you like, for example, the pasta. You have eaten it, belly is full, but the prayers dictates over the Shreyas. It's, oh, let me have one more plate of pasta. Now you are overeating. One example. Apply this example to everyday life. You are engaged in a gossip to someone and you instantly recognize there is a Shreyas, so what is right and good? Now my mind is distracted and the other's mind, who is a dear friend of mine, is also distracting. It is better to give a break. Find a break. If you don't find a break, what will happen? It stretches to the gossip and the gossip puts your mind to the Shreyas, and then you have an impulsive and instinctive reaction. He has been such a good friend and he cheated me. We have to live consciously our life. The entire journey of awakening means I have to live my life consciously. That is what we did last week. So today's we will go a little deeper. We will understand desire to unending suffering, desire to bring an end to the unending suffering and permanent happiness in our life, from where we should start as a seeker. Do we ever question why we have desires and so many desires in our life? Why Eastern wisdom says there is a desire fulfillment and there is a self-fulfillment. We have trillions of desires in the mind of the human. Why and how? From where it comes. We need to understand it so that there should be a clarity. So desire to end suffering once and for all and permanent happiness in life, that is what the awakening is. But the desire leads to anger, anxiety, duality, conflict in life, causes crime, violence at a higher level, fight. I'm attending this Gilbert Police Academy. It is for Gilbert citizens. So I understand that, how these cops are living in such a danger. If you are in a military, you go and fight the war, you know the enemy is there. But those cops, it unfolded into my head. So I started thinking, these cops are just moving here and there, and you don't know where lies the enemy. They are living such a life of danger all the time. So they were explaining about this violence and the crime in our area. So desire is the cause. It may become the cause of permanent peace and happiness, or it may become the cause of my anxiety, duality, conflict, provided we know the direction we choose the desire. If desire is seeking happiness outside in the world, it will definitely cause you anxiety, duality, insecurity. A friend of yours knocks the door, and you start gossiping, and then you realize, this friend is going in a different direction and I don't feel like. Anybody, any person, any object, what we need to do as a human being, as a seeker, we need to observe, analyze, choose what desire brings suffering and what brings me the permanent happiness. I am sitting alone, so let me call a friend, and then you enter into a gossip. That is the right time to be in meditation. If you are feeling lonely, it is better to do the practice of meditation. But the mind, because of its preyous nature, impulsive nature, instinctive nature, it chooses the easy path. No, we need not to choose it. It's not required. Let's take a simple example. A person desires outside to be a millionaire. One person, and he fails, but he is not depressed. The other fails and goes into depression and commits suicide. Both have the same desire. So one commits suicide, the life comes to an end. One fails and still he tries. But why he is trying, he does not know. To be a millionaire, what is the ultimate result? To be happy. So why shouldn't I be happy first and then I try to be millionaire? There is no issue at all. So what is going to happen? There I am applying the path of the Shreyas, what is right and good. I have a choice to be in the state of peace and happiness, then let me do. Let me make an effort. So what is going to happen? I am making an effort, I am not getting depressed. There are many factors to become a millionaire. So maybe I did not achieve it, so I remain calm and happy because I started with the peace and happiness. That person becomes really a higher level of a seeker, and then we can enter into the higher level. Do you have ever a question in your mind why we have so many desires, so many millions and millions of desires? Biological drive, pleasure-seeking mind, ego boost. We want to boost our ego. Let me have this car. Feeling of lackness, feeling of emptiness, loneliness. That causes all these desires. Ignorance about my true nature. Basic needs are okay. Projecting happiness outside, projecting happiness outside in a person, the near and dear ones, or maybe a stranger. We get infatuated, but we don't recognize this is an undisciplined mind. We don't recognize this. We force our mind. It's a biological drive. Biological drive. Over the biological drive, you have an intellect. That is why we have a religion. No animals, no living species has, except the human beings, have a religion. I know what to do, what not to do. Animals can go anytime, anywhere. That is why they live naked. They never ever feel shy. They never ever feel shy. We feel shy. So you see that this is how we understand this is an undisciplined mind. And the undisciplined mind all perpetrates the experience of a constant desire in the human life. We don't examine. We just go by habit. We just go by, science says it's a biological drive, so I have a lot of biological changes. No, you have to think, examine, understand. That is why we have millions of desires, and when you have millions of desires, it is constantly running in the world outside on the object, and then mind becomes undisciplined. Or you can say the mind is constantly wandering. And then people come to me and they ask me, how to control this mind. Without understanding, how can you control the mind? How can you control the mind? Why the mind is wandering? Because it has millions of desires. Why it has millions of desires? I am seeking some, at least you are my son, so you should respect me. Even, why should I expect the respect from the other? Why shouldn't I respect myself? So we have millions of the desires, a very gross level, physical level, emotional level, mental level, and that keeps my mind always busy. And that busy mind is known as the wandering mind. And I want to control the mind without understanding why my mind is wandering to these things. It is not possible. It has never been possible. Go a little deeper. Biological drive. We have innate biological drive for things like food, water, shelter, procreation. We can say the prime desire. And every human being knows we can easily meet these simple desires. But if I add a craving to any of one of them, there comes the problem. Craving creates another set of desires. Food, I like only this food. Otherwise I will remain hungry. So hunger gives you the pain. And craving also gives you the pain. A repeated desire creates a greed. So desire is greed, desire is anger, desire is irritation, desire is craving. Desire is also insecurity. I have not eaten the food. Why? That's why I'm feeling weak. Why? Because I did not get the food of my choice. Food that satisfied my palate and food that satisfied my belly. They are two different things. Big house, small heart. Big house, small house and a big heart. It makes a tremendous difference. Choice between Shreyas and the Preyas. What is right and good and what I like and what is pleasant for me creates my wandering mind. Let us go pleasure seeking. Pleasure seeking also creates millions of desires. Our brain rewards us. Why? Science understands truly our brain rewards us with the dopamine when we satisfy our desires. But that chemical is not me. Come on, that chemical is not me. Yes, science has done the research. I agree with it. Then what? Can chemicals should control me? Or I should go deep inside my mind, drop the wandering mind and feel calmness. Still the dopamine is released independently of any object outside. I don't do it. That is the path of the Shreyas. So why shouldn't, if it is a feedback mechanism, I eat something, for example, and that gives me a reward with the dopamine release to satisfy the desire. Why shouldn't I practice meditation to release the dopamine more? So I remain independent. I have a right to reach to that state of calmness all the time. Ego fulfillment. That also causes a lot of desires. Ego fulfillment. We have to continue this as a, maybe in 2 or 3 series I will complete it. Ego fulfillment. So we have many desires that feeds our ego. Oh, you are younger to me, so you should, whenever you come and meet me, you should respect me. Why I have this desire? Unnecessarily. Sometimes we want to feed our ego for want of security, for esteem, for power, for approval, for recognition. A lot of people, a lot of young people are committing suicide because of the social media. That is an extreme case, but we have an innate desire to get ego fulfillment. We have to recognize this so that we can break in the mind the path of the prayers. That is another way that is why mind is wandering. If I understand each and every aspect of my life, attitude and behavior, where it is going, mind's nature, that's another reason. Unnatural, untrained mind. Mind is untrained since our birth. So it has some compulsively jumps from one desire to the next. That is another reason we have millions and millions of desires. So when it keeps on jumping from one desire to the next, one desire is fulfilled or not fulfilled, it simply jumps on to the next, and so there is a chain reaction. In that chain reaction, inside mind is working. That is what we define craving. So if the mind repeats itself on one desire again and again and again, that is what the craving is. But we have created that craving because the mind is jumping from one desire to the second, to the third, to the fourth. That creates the habit of the mind. This pasta has given me a pleasure, so let me have this pasta again. Unconsciously, habitually, impulsively. You have eaten pasta in a particular restaurant. Maybe after a month you are driving on the same street and you see the same. Oh, let me stop here, have the pasta. You are not hungry, and still you take the pasta. So we normally understand craving. I should have a feeling of craving. No. We repeat the same thing again and again unconsciously. It's what's so casual. I was on the way and I went there and I had my craving. Now I don't recognize it as a craving. I said, this is so natural. I was going to my house, so I thought better to. No, I have to bring that thought of a desire consciously. Is it required? Do I need it? So that I can follow the path of the Shreyas and I become the higher level of the seeker. What are the other causes of having those millions of desires? Causes the wandering and distracted mind. My mind is constantly wandering, habitually, subconsciously, and now you come and meet me. That mind has a conflict with you, even if you come with the right intention. And then I say, you don't respect me, you don't love me, you don't care. We don't live consciously, we don't live in the path of the Shreyas. So that category belongs to you. What happens that we lack a mental maturity. We often desire things we feel we are lacking. internal feeling of scarcity, insecurity, deficiency can fuel body into an action. And that is why the body fidgeting. You have seen there is one problem, psychological problem of fidgeting the body, including the split personality. I can diagnose each and every psychological issues based on the Eastern West. Yes, now we come to the major cause of this desire. Major cause of this desire, we say ignorance. I don't know my real self is of the nature of peace and happiness, and that I feel the sense of incompleteness. So I feel the sense of incompleteness causes the ignorance, and from that feeling of incompleteness, I feel that this food, this situation, this wealth, this money, this home will give me the happiness, and that prompts me to have millions of desires. Unless we remove that ignorance, unless we realize the inner real self, which is of the nature of peace and happiness, we will continue to have an inner poverty. I may have an outer riches. It does not make any sense. I may be rich. I may have 50 cars because I still feel incomplete because I want a 51st car. See that? I have 2 houses, now a beach house, but still I want one more in France. The sense of incompleteness continues. I have to attack that sense of incompleteness present in the mind. It is caused by the ignorance. And the projection is another reason. I project peace and happiness. My honey will give me peace and happiness. When the honey itself is suffering, how he or she can give you peace and happiness. My honey. This was lying in the Best Buy. The moment I paid, I added my mouse. But still it is not my mouse, I projected. So I find my soulmate. So I say my soulmate, she or he is still a boy and a girl. That is projection. Find out all the projections and you will see that is the reason my mind is wandering. Trillions of desires. So because of these reasons, these desires take root and propagate through association. Our mind makes between the object and the pleasure. I love this mouse, so I have object of pleasure is the mouse, but I experience the pleasure in my head. Now replace this mouse with the food, with the man, with the women, with the person, with the near and dear ones, with the money in your account. You will understand this. Pleasure is not here. But this mouse gives me a pleasure. And because I don't become aware of it, so what happens anytime I feel lacking something, I'm in stress, I'm into anxiety, I have problem, I have ego, I am upset, unnecessarily. Because of what projection I have made, which is not available to me now. When the projection is not available, I have to live all the time. So these are sensorial triggers based on my memories, and my memory is based on my projection. So I have to I have to examine mind. This is your projection, this is your memory, and you have projected happiness, You have claimed this is my mouse, I just example. This is my house, this is my example, this is what me and mine. I have already projected the pleasure. Pleasure is not there. Instantly tell your mind, I can say, even think of it, the pleasure is not there. It will change your mind. There and then. You are projecting something. That is why you have a fear, you have insecurity, you have an anxiety. So there are many interconnected mechanisms because of those projections, and we have millions of the desires. First is the thought. Without the thought, you cannot have a desire. One thought itself is a desire. So repeated thought, when it is repeating itself, it causes the attachment. And attachment goes into the memory, it projects the pleasure. I don't have a big house. No, you need a big heart. You don't need a big house. You have 10-bedroom mansion. Can you sleep in all the 10 rooms at the same time? No. Can you invite 10 people to enjoy your mansion? No. I have a small heart. That big mansion has no utility at all for you. You are not a contributor. You have the resources, buy it.
Where does the projection come from? Why is it a desire? Are projections like desires or fears, or why does one project?
Because of ignorance, because I don't know my real nature, because I don't understand my impurity of the mind. Why the mind is wandering? Because it keeps on projecting happiness outside on a particular thing by claiming me and mine.
I know we only have a couple minutes left, and I wanted to ask you a question, if we can, spend the last couple minutes.
Yeah.
You said something during the meditation that you said that knowing the real self and then what is separate, whatever is separate, cannot affect me. I had the thought, though, when you said that, as well, that sounds to me like duality, and I thought there really wasn't anything separate from me. So it kind of confused me, because we talked about the real self, and then it sounded like duality when you said, well, that something is separate from me. But that would be duality, and we don't believe in duality.
You see that we have to understand that duality in the beginning to separate ourselves. Why to separate ourselves? At least to help the mind to reach to a mental maturity. That is the beginning of our practice. So once we separate, once we have separated, we have a power of discernment. And that discernment helps us to move to the higher journey. That is one answer. Second answer, examine the world outside. Everything in the world is changing. That is how our mind and sense organ perceive. So it is very important for us to develop a power of wisdom to see that whatever is changing is not me. If you accept change is me, then it is going to backfire you.
That makes sense.
So in the beginning, we have to examine first the entire world of change. Then we have to look at the body is also changing, the mind is changing, the intellect is changing, the ego is changing, the thoughts are changing. And what is changing is not me.
I see. So that helps somebody understand the real self by first separating it, because whatever is changing could not be me, because that's not the truth, and the truth doesn't change. The truth is only one thing.
You're right. You got it.
So, like, thoughts change, emotions change, my body changes. So how could I be something that changes? That would be ignorant.
One, anything that changes is made up of parts. And anything that is made up of the parts, I am not the part.
Yeah.
I'm the whole. Go a little further. That where from there we enter into the higher journey. Real self cannot be perceived by the senses and the mind. Mind and the sense organ always perceives the change. So we have to reach to that state of mental maturity to start the journey of becoming a little higher level of a seeker, and from there we start